Hello my lovely butterfly, it's France. Welcome back for Journal Monday 211, another guided art journaling for you, and today it's all about restlessness. These are all the products that I will be using for today's video. Of course, they're all listed in the description of this video, and the video is split up into chapters so that you can play along. For the first layer, we're actually going to glue down a whole bunch of things that we have laying around. So I'm starting with vintage paper, and then I'm also going to add some canvas resist. Now, don't let it stop you if you don't have this. Just use regular fabric or whatever it is you have laying around that you can use to start creating texture on the paper. To represent the restlessness on the page, we're going to glue these down as strips as a first step. So just randomly cut them, rip them, however it feels like doing it today to get all that restlessness out of your system. Now, this is a very fun way to get rid of restlessness, and that is to rip the fabric with pliers. And the reason that I'm using pliers for the canvas resist is because of the resist in the canvas. It actually makes it very hard to just rip it. So if you have anything like this that you can use to, again, get rid of all that restless energy, by all means, knock yourself out. Now we're going to glue these down in a way that we know that they will warp as soon as we go in with wet medium. The reason is that we really want to have that restlessness represented on the page, and that will happen by having all that irregular texture going on. So don't use matte medium to glue these down because that will stick way too well unless you really limit yourself to the center of the strips of fabric and paper. Now we can add some more texture to this because this is a good start, but it's not restless enough just yet. So my first medium of choice is grunge paste, but you can use whatever modeling paste it is you have laying around to do this. And then just scrape it on in a way that makes you feel good. Remember, it's about getting rid of that negative energy that we're sitting with, especially in these times. So don't try to be neat and controlled, just get it out there and on the paper. Next up, I decided to go in with white crackle paste in the exact same way as I did with the grunge paste to add some more distress effect once we will go in with color. If you don't have crackle paste like this, maybe you have some kind of textured paste laying around, like sand paste or something similar. Don't have sand paste laying around? Just take regular modeling paste and add a little bit of sand to it if you have any laying around. And otherwise, just go back in with your modeling paste and texturize it with your palette knife. Once everything is dry, we can go in with color. Now remember, if you used crackle paste, the best way to have the best crackles is to leave it to dry by itself. As we're going to use quite some water, the best way is to protect our journal just a little bit using washi tape. And if, like me, you've used a design that you don't really want to have lingering around on the spread, you can cover it with some white paint. I'm using fresco finish because that will be porous enough for when we go in with the color to absorb the color, as well as we're using a water reactive kind of color. I am using a cloth to protect my journal, as I have decided to turn my studio as much in a zero waste zone as I can, so no more kitchen wall, kitchen towel, baby wipes, and so on for me. And it works. It really, really works perfectly. Let's start by applying some water so that when we go in with the color, it just blends nicely. Now take your spray inks, take a deep breath, and just spray it on there. Let's get all that restlessness just on there on the paper. Don't try to control where the color is going, just get it on there. You can blend it some more with water if you want to. You can dry it and then add some more color if you feel like it. And if there's too much color on there, just take your cloth and dab it off just a little bit. I know that this stage is the scariest one for people who are just getting started with creative soul searching or art journaling, because I don't want to ruin the beautiful background that they've already created. Just remember that you're doing this for you. You're doing this to have fun, not to beat yourself up or stress yourself with all the things that might go wrong just by spraying on some color. You're just spraying some ink on paper. That's all. So just go for it. If you want to add some more drama, you can go back in with the tube of the ink and just wipe it alongside the fabric and the papers that we glued on earlier on, and then blend it with water, and it will nicely go in each and little opening that it can actually blend into. This is actually where I like to play with the differences in surfaces that we have going on the paper. So, where there's nothing, where the paper is just the paper, it will absorb all of this color in such an intense way. While where there is modeling paste or crackle paste, it will react in a completely different way. And that is what I like to play with when doing this. Now, we already have a lot going on, but this is about restlessness, so we're going to add some more. And I decided to do that by going in with Distress ink over a stencil, but you can go in directly with paint and dab it on with your finger or dry brushing it. Or you can just add a whole bunch of splatters of a variety of color, whatever makes you feel better about your restlessness. And the fun part of doing it with Distress ink is that, of course, it is water reactive, so now I can play with some water splatters. I just love how much there is already going on, and then that crackle paste on there and the Distress ink reacting with all the rest. It is just yumminess. And yes, the paper is warping. I don't care. This is about restlessness, so let the paper be restless. Let's add some stamping, and to do so, I'm using the same Distress inks as I've used before, but you can use whatever it is you have laying around again. You can use matching colors with the background, or if you want to go even more wild, you can go with contrasting colors. I didn't realize that this piece of paper was still wet, so my Distress ink did bleed around, but that's okay. I just heat set it and then moving on. we can add even more drama, and I decided to do that by going in with my water-soluble charcoal pencil and then blend it in with water. If you don't have this kind of pencil, you can just do this by scraping on some distress ink on the edge. That word serotonin at the top was making me seasick because of the double stamping, so I decided to just get rid of the distress ink that I had underneath by erasing it just with water. For the wording, you can do like me and go in with Butterfly Whispers Mixed Media stickers. Very handy, yes, even if I say so myself, to have all those words that you can pick from. But if you don't have these, you can just use words from magazines or write it yourself or type it out on the computer and then stick it on the spread. The cool thing about these stickers is that they are mixed media friendly. And yes, I do like to have them straight, even if I have to go with my big head in front of the camera. I thought that I was done. I thought that I had expressed everything that I needed to express, so I already added the date stamp. But I wanted to take you further on this journey and add some more. So we're gonna add some splatters and really take out the contrast of this spread with the black and the white on top of all that color. So black splatters, white splatters, or any kind of splatters that make you happy. And if you don't have paint pens to do so, just take your regular paint, add some water to it, put your brush through it, and then flick it over the paper. I hope that the spread will help you to get rid of some of that pandemic restlessness that we have all, in some kind of way, lingering around. And that next time we can do something a little bit more sweet and calm and nice. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you're one of my patrons, you rock. See you back here next time. Don't forget to put down a layer a day. Butterfly kisses.